AITA for sending my niece to go live with her other uncle? My sil passed away 12 years and my brother passed away 4 years ago. They had a daughter who is 13 years old now. After my brother passed away, both me and my sil's brother tried to adopt my niece, but as my niece didn't have much of a relationship with her mom's family, I was obviously the better option, so I ended up adopting her. Recently my niece has got this very annoying habit that whenever we have a disagreement she says she would rather go and live with her other uncle. I know she doesn't mean it because 1. She barely knows her other uncle. 2. I have a high-paying job and I'm able to provide things that most people aren't able to provide, so she is too spoiled to be able to live with anyone else. About a week ago it happened again. She told me she wants to live with her other uncle. This time I told her to go pack a bag. She went to her room. An hour later I went to her room and asked her if she is ready. She said she didn't mean what she said and doesn't really want to go. I told her that she should go anyway. She'll stay for a week and then she can tell me if she wants to stay there or come back home. She insisted that she already knows where she wants to stay, but I told her to get in the car and drove her there. After a week I called and asked if she wants to come home and she said yes, however she hasn't been talking to me. My family heard what happened and now everyone is mad at me and thinks I'm an asshole. I'm torn here. On one hand I can see how other people get upset because they aren't in your shoes. On the other hand, when my daughter kept threatening to live with her dad after we divorced, I finally wiped my tears and told her that if she really wanted to then we would get schools switched and she could. That was the last time I ever heard that from her and that was 2 years ago. She sees her dad 50-50, but I never had her actually go stay with him. That wasn't custody time. I know she doesn't mean it because 1. She barely knows her other uncle. 2. I have a high-paying job and I'm able to provide things that most people aren't able to provide, so she is too spoiled to be able to live with anyone else. You created this problem with her because you spoiled her instead of parenting her. YTA. Nah, she's entering her teenage years. She's gonna throw an attitude. But that doesn't give her a get-out-of-jail-free card with abusing your feelings. What you did is tough love. Whether or not the timing of it was good or if you jumped too quickly, I don't know. But young teens and adults at some point need to face the reality and consequences of their own words. Because of her past, has she been seeing a therapist? Usually when I meet children who threaten that they will run away or go live with someone else, it usually stems from deeper issues of abandonment or trust issues. Has the child had any therapy to deal with their loss? The child is dealing with being abandoned. Of course her parents didn't do it on purpose. They died. But it is still tough on the child. She can't yell at them. She is an orphaned child, dealing with her feelings and hormonal surges at the same time. Find someone that can help you figure out how to work through this. Help her work through this trauma. Parenting a typical child isn't easy. Parenting a child of trauma is even harder. NTA. Go ahead and downvote. You have to stop spoiling your niece because she's going to run into trouble as an adult. Your niece needs to learn handle not getting her way or disagreements in a healthy manner. She can't always mess around because she will find out the hard way. Which she did when you called her bluff and actually made her stay with her other uncle. NTA. She said something hurtful multiple times. It was a consequence of her own actions. 1 week is not abandonment. You told her parameters and told her you were coming back. You probably need to talk to her about this though. Tell her that her words hurt because you love her, want her, and that this is her permanent home if she wants it. Ask her how it made her feel as well so she feels heard. Good luck. NTA. It's not abandonment if he told her the parameters and allowed her back. Did you guys scream abandonment when your parents sent you to your grandparents' house against your will? Being an orphan is tough, but she knew she was wrong when she changed her mind after Op told her to pack a bag. I think repeatedly saying she wanted to move is beyond lashing out and needed to be addressed. NTA. She may only be 13, but she is old enough to really know how to manipulate. There may have been other ways to deal with it, but granting her request and insisting she follow through with it wasn't putting her in harm's way. I am sorry she lost both of her parents and you stepped up and doing what you can. Yes. She is being a snotty 13 years old and well, she just learned she better be careful what she asks for. No. You stuck to your guns. A lot of parents don't back up what they say. She kept pushing it and you backed it up. Everyone else needs to mind their own business unless they are raising her. They have no say. NTA. 13 is old enough to understand that there are consequences to your actions. Niece kept on saying she'd rather live elsewhere, so she was shipped to her other uncle. As an adult, you have to know that when you state something, you need to be prepared to do it, so she just learned a valuable lesson that there are people who follow through their statement. Yes, she's still a child, but she still needs to learn that lesson someday. It just came sooner for her. Her aunt didn't shuttle her off another relative because it was inconvenient. She asked for it, even if she didn't mean it. Op could say in her house, when you say something, she follows through. INTA. Your niece found out what it means to put a meaning into her own words. A. You did not kick her out but gave her a week to let her see how is it to live with the other uncle. B. Putting being a teen aside. It really sucks if a child weaponize her being an orphan against the very person who adopted her. I would advise to talk with her. Tell her how do you feel about her. That you love her and it hurts you when she throws every time you do not agree, the other option, at your face. That you understand she may grieve as she lost her parents but you also lost your brother. That you want to teach her words have a meaning. May I ask what is the reason of your conflicts? NTA. I think this poor child has been through a lot. I have lost only one parent and it is hard enough. And being a female, I know all too well the reality of being a teen whose whole world has been rocked. However, that does not give her the right to disrespect you and throw in your face that she wants to go to her other uncle every time she doesn't get her way. By you taking her there, it shows her her words and actions have consequences and we can't just say things we don't mean because we are angry or upset. If you had told her you were going to take her and then didn't when she asked you not to, all you are teaching her is that you make empty threats and don't follow through. In this situation you have to be the one in control. You need to be the constant steadfast in her crazy upturned world. And that starts with setting boundaries and letting her know what she can and cannot get away with, and getting her to respect you and your rules. Becoming a parent overnight to a 13-year-old that you didn't raise to begin with is very difficult. Kudos to you for all you are doing. NTA. I have a family relative who used emotional manipulation to get what they want. E.g. long periods of ignoring her parents because she didn't get her way. Now she's become an entitled adult who's really finessed the art of pushing, testing everyone around her until they cave. Where the smallest thing can set off an explosive fight that drags on to months. It's important for kids to learn respect for the people that provide for them. And TBH if your niece isn't treating you with the deserved dignity for taking her in. I don't think you're obliged to continue supporting her. Although this seems harsh. She needs to learn the value and sacrifice of carers and not feel entitled to you and the support you give. The rest of your family also needs to back off a bit and reframe how they approach this. Yes, it can be a bit harsh sending your niece away, But calling you an asshole and not seeing the bigger picture for what it is will only further enable poor behaviors and attitudes, which gets worse into adulthood unless intervened. I've grown up with this kind of behavior in my family for years, and it's caused a lot of irreparable damage. I really hope the same doesn't happen to you, and that your niece eventually appreciates this tough love. I was this spoiled teenager before, saying really mean and hurtful things to intentionally sting my mom or older sister or whomever I was arguing with. One day my sister decided to begin feeding me my own medicine, and I hated her for it, but when I got older and came to my senses, I am so grateful she did. Because without that I would still be an obnoxious person who never learned to watch her mouth. Until someone with not so good intentions decides to teach it to me or take advantage of it. You are teaching her that her words have power and consequences, and that is an important lesson any good parent needs to teach their boundary-testing teenagers. You taught her an important lesson. There's nothing wrong with her spending time at her uncle's house, and she shouldn't try to hold that over you to get her way. You didn't traumatize her. You simply showed her that using manipulative statements to hurt someone in an argument is a celos. A lot of people could have stood to learn this lesson in childhood. And this is a very mild example. And I say this as a former kid who was actually emotionally abused and threatened with terrible things by their parents. I don't think either of you are ta, but only if otherwise you will be ta. At 13, a young lady needs to understand that words have consequences. This is not going to get any better. Though, she's a raging bag of hormones right now. And she does need a constructive way to express her emotions. You failed to teach her a better way of expressing herself. At the same time, she has learned there are boundaries. You are now her father figure, and sending her away like that tells her that your love is conditional. If you capitalize on this situation and go to her, apologize for sending her away, and then use that moment to let her know she is dearly loved, but that you have limits just as she does, it could open the door to a level of communication you both benefit from. Like it or not, you are her teacher. Even when she doesn't appear to be listening and learning, she is. This young lady, if you're smart enough to understand, is also your teacher. You can open up a whole new way of having conversations with everyone in your life if you can learn how to have one in your own home with those you love. She is 13. As a dad of a teenage girl, you need to get better at parenting. You were okay right up until you made her go anyway. I would have saved that for the scenario if she did it again after that conversation. She already backtracked and realized you would follow through, so she humbled herself, which was the right response on her end. You took it further than you needed to and damaged her and your relationship with her. You need to do something now to correct it and talk to her. I was a rational girl even as a teenager. I didn't give my parents trouble the way other teens did. However, even then, as rational and together as I was, as a teen I still had emotional outbursts. Not many. Like a few total lol, but I still had them, and I grew up and feel so terrible when I remember the things I said and did at those times. My parents laugh about it now, but I can imagine in those moments I hurt their feelings. She realized she spoke in anger. She has been through living hell. So you can expect her to lash out now and again. You forced her to go stay for a week with people she didn't have much of a relationship with, and seem surprised she's mad? You shouldn't have made her go there. Apologize for that, and stop spoiling her. This is a 13-year-old who has been through some heavy stuff. If you think this is an annoying habit, you haven't seen anything yet. Put yourself in her shoes. You're not arguing with a fully functioning adult that you can call out on their BS. Spoiling her because you can afford it doesn't compensate for the compassion and love she needs.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.